democracy. Now, latter-day men and women, by this time young, the Gen Zs, have taken this a step further. As we commemorate Saba, which is itself not even a national holiday, and as far as I'm concerned, if one was to ask me, this Saba should become a national public holiday because it is so significant. This is, as I said earlier, the struggle that brought Constitution 2010. But this struggle now has been heightened by the Gen Z revolution. The Gen Zs are both on the streets, because in Saba and Kamukunji, those men and women were on, a lot of them were men, by the way. We don't demean our ladies, but it comes to a time when that time a lot of men came out. But this time it's a lot of young women who are online and on the streets. We said during the funeral service of the first one to fall, young man Rex Masai, fell at 29. And we have realized between Rex and young man Onyango's 12 years, a lot of them are young people between the ages of 18 and 23 or thereabouts. And so they have carried the struggle of Saba. And today, as they gather in the streets of Nairobi or wherever they are, we want them to know that Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leadership stands with them, as indeed we stand with all Kenyans. But we must also ask some basic questions. We had demonstrations last year where we lost about 75 Kenyans. And the demonstrations on the cost of living, the high cost of living. And my brother Eugene will bear me witness. When we met as National Dialogue Committee, we had itemized as item number 1 for discussion, the high cost of living. That was very important to us as Azimio. But Kenya Kwanza side said, no, it is our business as government. You will not discuss. And eventually said, fine. Then we went on to the other issues, the culmination of which was the draft bills that are now lying in the National Assembly. We think that the low-lying fruit out of those discussions is the ABC Amendment Bill 2024, which William Ruto has promised to sign into law. We say that this should be done expeditiously on this Saba Day so that we can have the process get underway of coming up as soon as possible with a new IEBC. Because the country right now is at a crossroads. This is not a thing that we think should be delayed for even one extra day. Allow us also to really commend our leaders in the Senate, the whole Senate. I saw for the first time Azimio and Kenya Kwanza talking the same language at the floor of the Senate when they refused to go on recess because the country was burning. What happened on the other side? The National Assembly. I think it was a tunnel that helped them get away from young Kenyans, running away from their own youth. And the ambulance. Some of them, I'm told the speaker, escaped in an ambulance. And some of them tried to access Vigilante House, and the police for once told them, no, the Gen Zs are on you. And you may have seen them escape by helicopter atop the KICC. What a shame. Running away from your own people. But the Senate has stood firm and asked for once for accountability in support of the agenda by Gen Z. So we, Mheshimiwa Senator Ambua, who is the Deputy Minority Leader in the Senate for Azimio, we thank you and your team. And even those others like Boni Alwale, and even I saw Cheruyot, apologize. It is apology time. to this country. So this Saba Day is very significant in this country, very, very significant. Of course, when it happened in the 80s and 90s, it gave way to the doing away with amending the Constitution, the famous Section 2A, to allow for multi-party democracy, which is what we are today. This time, the Gen Zs got William Ruto to do away with Finance Act 2024, and also Finance Act 2023, which is still operational. Some of us hold the view that, for example, the housing tax is a slush fund. We have said that before. The corruption continues unabated. A lot of monies get collected, and no accountability with regard to how they use their monies. The problem, some have said, in this country is not revenue collection, but the consumption levels, the opulence, the greed that has been demonstrated by leaders, the inexplainable nepotism in this country. Additional to corruption, nepotism, tribalism. But the Gen Zs, congratulations, they have come up now with a country that we can say is getting detribalized. Because if you want to annoy the Gen Zs, you talk to them about your tribe. So this is a big achievement, and the days of transparency are ahead of us. But before that happens, there's a lot of work to do. And we have come to Meru to tell our brothers and sisters that the struggle continues, a luta continua. Even before we go to church and meet the people in Lari and also in Makutano later today. My colleagues can add something. We had wanted a written text, but I think we've given a summary of what we wanted to do. We say justice, we were saying justice for Rex Masai, but not just for Rex, because he was the first one to fall this year. The 75 of them who fell last year and whose families are still distraught with grief, justice for them as well. We say the people, men and women who have responsibility over these deaths still, and we know them, we have called for their resignation, and the responsibility begins from the very top. We are not talking about 75 now, 41. You're looking at a total of excess of 100 Kenyans who fell to the police bullets. So this Saba Day, we remember them. We say their lives, they did not fall in vain. Their lives will be, how do we put it? They say they will try to compensate pay, but the Gen Zs are so amazing. Within 2 days, they were able to raise over 28 million shillings. They don't want, and they have called everybody on notice. Can you imagine William Ruto say there will be no church arambes, no arambes by people close to him? And yet you used to say that at some stage they should give billions to churches. Everybody, including the church, has been called by Gen Zs to be accountable. That's why you say this country will never be the same again. So justice for over 100 Kenyans who fell between last year and this year. And many others who got maimed, still some recovering in hospitals, and yet others lost property. Kwa hivyo mambo hayo ni magumu, na tunazidi kusema pole sana kwa wote ambao wamepoteza watu yao, jamii zao, na tusimama pamoja sisi kama wanaazimio pamoja nao. Eugene.
Thank you very much, Excellency. And let me start by also joining my brother Peter Munya and the leadership of Meru and this region, and thanking them for welcoming us here. We were here earlier and you welcomed us back. Wanasema ahadi ni deni na tuko hapa kulipa deni, tulikuwa tumesema tutarudi. But we have come back on a very special day in the history of our country, Saba Day. This is a day that Kenyans came out and died to bring an end to a dictatorship. And it's as a result of those who came out and died. They went to Kamkunji, they took on a dictator, that Section 2A was removed and a new constitution was birthed in our country. Today, we say to those who lost their lives last year, during the Maandamano, 75 of them, we say to the 41 Gen Zs who lost their lives, and they're all very young, from Rex, who was 29, that we buried in Machakos the other day, to Kennedy Onyango, who was only 12 years, and who took almost 8 bullets. And this system keeps changing the story. But Kenyans saw a little boy of 12 years whose body was riddled with bullets and who died at the hands of our police. We are here to commemorate these deaths, but also to salute the freedom fighters. These young Gen Zs, 41 of them, are heroes just like the freedom fighters of our first liberation who got the colonial government out of place. Freedom fighters of the second liberation who went on Saba Day and got the Nyayo system out and who said Moi must go, and Moi went. Today we hear these young heroes saying Ruto must go, and Ruto will go. We have no doubt about that. It's a matter of time. We know he's trying to panel beat his government, to put some very cosmetic changes, to form task forces. We must thank the Law Society of Kenya for rejecting to be lured into a system of cleansing an already failed regime. Let us listen to the voices of the millions of Kenyans who are saying Ruto must go and ensure Ruto goes. As Azimio, we want to assure them that we stand with them. Their cause is our cause. We have listened to our parliamentarians speak and even followed debate in our Senate. And we heard some of our parliamentarians say blood was shed on the hallowed grounds of Parliament, and that Parliament needs cleansing. Senator Wambua, the only way we can cleanse our Parliament is by acknowledging that what happened was a vote of no confidence in the Parliament of Kenya. And when the people went in and took the mess, they took back their power. They exercised their constitutional right under Article 1, and Parliament stands impeached. The only way to cleanse this Parliament is to ensure that we have an IEBC in place, and that's why I agree with His Excellency that Ruto should sign assent to the IEBC bill so that we reconstitute IEBC and prepare for a fresh election where this Parliament should seek fresh mandate. And Ruto must realize that he and his government no longer enjoys the confidence of the people of the Republic of Kenya. So on this Saba Day, we want to urge our agencies and all those who believe in this cause that the mission is not done until Zakayo ashuke. Sitaki niseme kuliko hapo, lakini pia niseme pongezi kwa majenzi. We've had an absentee president who has been flying all over the world, but the Gen Zs have actually grounded him for the first time. We have a flying president who has become a resident for the last 3 weeks. It had never happened, thanks to the Gen Zs. Lazima tuwashukuru kwa hii na tuambie wakaze kamba kabisa. So, yes, they've saved us a lot of money, and I want to invite my brother Munya, and as he comes, we served with him as the Minister for Agriculture. We have had the fertilizer scandal. Parliament impeached the minister, but he's still protected, and corruption continues unabated. We have heard of the fertilizer that disappeared on the high seas. And the only way we can cleanse this is really by getting a new government in place. And as the last Minister for Defense, I want to request that the Commander-in-Chief cancels the deployment order that he gave for the military to come out against the citizens of the Republic, the youth of the Republic. We cannot say we are a democracy and we have deployed our military against our youth. That deployment order hangs over the heads of Kenyans like the sword of Damocles. We cannot deploy our military against our citizens indefinitely. And having served with the late General Francis Ogola, God rest his soul in peace, we haven't yet been told what killed him. We know that if he was here, he would have given different advice that we cannot deploy our military indefinitely, and that deployment should be cancelled. Our military men should go back to the barracks and let the politicians do the politics. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mimi pia nataka nichukue nafasi hii kwanza niwakaribishe viongozi wote tukiongozwa na Mheshimiwa Kalonzo na Mheshimiwa Wamalwa. Niwakaribishe hapa Meru, msikie muko nyumbani, na pia nijikane nao kusema leo ni siku ya muhimu sana katika taifa la Kenya, ambayo ni ya makumbusho ya sacrifice sile taifa la Kenya na viongozi wa Kenya wa zamani walifanya ndio tufike pale tumefika leo. Na kwa hivyo tuna wakumbuka hawa, wale wengine walikufa, wengine wakakuwa maimed, wengine wakapata majeraha ya kundumu wakipigania mabadiliko Kenya. Na tunashukuru vijana wetu ambao mara nyingine tulifikiria hawaoni shinda zile siku, wameamuka zaidi yetu na wamehakikisha hii serikali iko iwajibike. Demand ya Gen Z ni uwajibikaji wa serikali, sababu serikali inasimamia watu na fedha za watu. Kwa hivyo watu wanasema lazima iwajibike. They want an accountable government, not a government that leaves lunch when the citizens are suffering, not a government that spends money anyhowly, unaccountable and continues taxing people, not a government that does not care about business people, doesn't care about the youth, not a government that wants the young people to defer their dreams even as they enrich themselves and pocket the resources that are there. So this demand for an accountable government will continue, na sisi tunaunga mkono Gen Z na tuko pamoja na wao. Kwa hivyo ndio sababu tuko hapa leo, tunatembea huku leo, tuhakikishe hii siku muhimu katika kalenda ya Kenya imekuwa commemorated vizuri. Na tuambie serikali ya Kenya kwanza, kama vile mheshimiwa amesema, the public will not relent. Smoke screens and cosmetic changes won't do anything. These young people are very educated. They are able to analyze issues. They have gone to the best schools. So a window dressing exercise will not satisfy them. So forget about saying you want to do some changes. Up here, when corruption starts from the bottom inaingia kwa civil service mpaka huko chini, what they want is complete overhaul of how government is run so that they can see value for their money. Uwezi kuendelea kuongeza taxes when problem was, I would even say close to half of the money is actually misused. ni matumizi na misuse ya pesa ya serikali. Wanataka iende chini, hiyo pesa itumike vizuri kulipa hiyo mandeni, Kenya iweze kuenda mbele. So any cosmetic changes will not satisfy them, neither will we be satisfied as leaders. So hivyo tunaambia agency, don't relent on your demand, continue demanding. After all, you are the young people, and the future of the country is for the young people. Santeni sana.
Maybe I could add then, wonderful. I could make it very plain that the attempt by William Ruto to constitute a task force to look at the debt situation in the country is unconstitutional. And we know that those who have been asked to serve in that task force will have taken note. The office of the Auditor General is the constitutional office mandated to be able to deal with this matter. Again, as Peter Munya said, cosmetic changes will not do. When the youth engaged Ruto on the X space, he undertook to do several things, maybe even to reshuffle his cabinet. Kenyans are saying, whether you reshuffle your cabinet or not, the problem is not the new or the old cabinet of William Ruto. It is Ruto himself. This is what the youth are telling you. This is where the way forward is to have IEBC in place. We repeat, then call for a snap election. And what happened in the UK the other day will surely happen in Kenya. Complete wiping out of a corrupt regime. And what is about to happen in France will also perhaps continue. Change is everywhere. Even in the United States of America itself, change. And the youth everywhere are standing up. They are saying, don't mess up our future. An attempt will be made. Already, indeed, we realize in this Twitter conversation, one or two of their bloggers or leaders will have been compromised. We know that. The state will try to compromise some of you. But Gen Zs we know will stand strong. And we are with them. Kama kuna swali, tunaweza kujibu. Kama hakuna, asanteni, baridi huko ni nyingi. Ni kali sana. Thank you. Well done. I think you have a good story.